Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Daniela Schwartzman, Strategic Partnerships Manager at BayWa r.e. While we set our screen, there you go. A very warm welcome to today's webinar, BayWa r.e. and Lunar Energy, Selling Storage with Confidence. Super excited to have Lunar Energy here today, one of our newest and strong partners here in the storage area. And you'll be in for a real treat. So you're going to learn about what makes it one of the most flexible, installer-friendly, and intelligent home storage and energy solutions that you can find in the market. So super excited. Thank you for being here. We have a team of 3 people supporting you here today. So we have John Arnaud. He is the Regional Director of Sales at Lunar Energy. We have Ben Chates. I hope I didn't butcher your name. He is the Northern California account manager. And we have Jack Suda here as well, helping and supporting in the background for any information you might need. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. While everybody is signing in, let's go through some housekeeping and also tell you who BayWa r.e. is in case you have not worked with us yet. So just familiarize yourself with the Zoom platform. There is a Q&A section. This will be the place for you to ask questions, to share your opinions, anything you would like to share with us here. To talk about, please use the Q&A. The chat is here as well. You'll find some really useful links in there right now, but that will not be monitored. So Q&A is where you want to be. So have fun, everybody, in our webinar today. So who's BayWa r.e.? So at BayWa r.e., your success is really our mission, and how this can be accomplished and how you can benefit from working with us, you see here on this slide. So smarter planning is something you can expect when you work with BayWa, so you can stay ahead of the demand with accurate forecasting, and your dedicated account manager always has your back and is available for you. Easy and fast purchasing through our web store. So you can streamline your operations and your procurement with a user-friendly web store that has real-time pricing, immediate ordering, so there's no friction and no delays. You got to check that out. It makes it really easy to work with us. Commercial project confidence is something you can expect. You can tap into our expert planning and precise inventory forecasting to keep your commercial jobs running smoothly from design all the way to the delivery. You can expect transparent, consistent pricing. You can rely on the stable pricing across all strategically located warehouses in the US. So there are no surprises, no hidden fees, and consistent pricing you can expect. Reliable logistics nationwide, so you can access the products that you need quickly, thanks to those strategically located warehouses I just mentioned across the country. If you're in our backyard, you can have your products delivered directly to your job or construction site, which will save you time and skipping extra steps. So if you're in the US, you're US-based installer and not yet working with BayWa r.e., please explore the links in the chat, and you can discover how your business can benefit from our collaboration. And now, without further ado, I'm going to hand it to John. John, take it away.
Thank you so much, Daniela, and thank you to the entire BayWa team. We are so excited about the partnership. We are so excited about serving our mutual customers and supporting their journey in this industry. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quickly. So to give everyone a sense of what we'll cover today, we're going to talk about Lunar Energy, who we are, what we're doing in this space, where we think we fit as far as your customers and homes where Lunar is a slam dunk. We will take a moment to do a quick live virtual demo, as it were. So what this will look like is you'll get a sneak peek into the Lunar showroom down here in Mountain View, where our headquarters is located. We'll have some Q&A throughout, some polls, and then we'll wrap up talking a little bit about financial products and how to get in contact with Lunar to learn a little bit more. So we'll jump right into it. Before I get into the product itself, I like to talk about who we are as a company. Lunar's been around for about 6 years now, but the legacy that has kind of accrued within our executive team and our leadership team is quite significant in our space. So our leadership team is comprised of folks that have really dedicated their career to this industry. To start with, Kunal, our CEO, has spent a number of years in the energy space. Most recently, prior to Lunar, was the CEO of, the president of Tesla Energy through the launch of Powerwall 1 and Powerwall 2. So long-standing time within the industry, and really a lot of folks that have devoted their career to this space. And I think that matters because as your customers embark on their journey, aligning with a company that is really devoted to this space in the United States, I think is very important. Beyond that, I wanted to call out right out of the gate because this is a bit of a hot topic right now. So we are headquartered here in Mountain View, California, kind of the heart of the Silicon Valley. The Lunar System has been designed in California. We have, since our inception, really leaned into a domestic supply chain and domestic manufacturing. So when all of this fiat domestic content really became a hot topic, we didn't really have to do much. We had to pay attorneys a bunch of money to certify that what we said was true. But this really hasn't been disruptive to our business in the way that it was to some others. And we tell that story because as policy changes, I would encourage you to look at Lunar as a stable partner throughout what otherwise might be a bit of turmoil within the space. On the topic of supply chain and kind of where we're at and who we are. So as I had mentioned, we are headquartered here in Mountain View. We took a little screenshot of our sign out front. We encourage all of our partners, swing by, get a full tour. If you'd like, you can even bring some end customers to the facility to take a peek at how the cake is made, so to speak. The vast majority of our manufacturing takes place just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and then our battery block assembly takes place in Seattle. So you can see this is something that was kind of happening prior to recent policy changes. Again, not a ton of disruption on our end in that regard. Beyond that, not just where our headquarters is or where this stuff is made, all of our support, whether it's customer support, installer support, this is all done in-house, primarily out of Mountain View. We do have a facility in the UK that does a lot of our software-related things, but they will pick up support calls if after hours. All that is to say, you can feel good if your customer wants to contact Lunar. They're going to get somebody somewhat local that can address their questions in real time. And it's been something, again, really just kind of core to our ethos and our DNA at the organization. And I say a complete company story that sits well with every customer. So at the kitchen table, you don't have to really gauge if I offer this product to my customer, are they going to have some strong reaction to it? It's a great company story, domestic supply chain, domestic manufacturing. So you can feel really good putting this as a solution in front of your customers.
So just to be crystal clear, the Lunar System, therefore, is domestic content and non-FIA compliant. That is, I'm hearing that correctly, yes?
Yes, that's exactly right. We are, and we within those thresholds, we have a lot of room for comfort. We'll talk a little bit when we get into financial products towards the end of the session today, how that all kind of comes to fruition and stacks up. But if you're offering any leases or PPAs where the Lunar System is on the AVL, we're scoring very high. Not only today, but as those thresholds move up, there's a nice buffer there that we're ready for. Great question. Okay, so once again, without further ado, we'll introduce you to the Lunar System. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this. If there are any questions, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and we can address those in real time. But to begin, one of the points that I want to call out, this is really an all-in-one product ecosystem. So everything from module level power electronics to the battery inverter, battery blocks, load relocation panels. Not only does Lunar manufacture these things, they've all been designed to look similar and to work together. And we've done this from the ground up. So all of the product design, engineering, and manufacturing is done in-house. It's a great story from a customer perspective, really good peace of mind, knowing that all of these components live within one warranty, one phone call to a local zip code or area code. So I think that brings some value at the kitchen table from a peace of mind and comfort level perspective. The Lunar System is an AC and DC coupled solution, so highly versatile. There's really not a huge number of site circumstances that would disqualify a Lunar System, and we'll get into some other value propositions and how that all comes together in a bit. But once again, all in one system, an entire ecosystem, all components designed and built to work together. To give you kind of an idea of what these components look like, I will talk in a little bit about what I would call an integration partner or an integrated product. The core components of the Lunar System, once again, all manufactured by Lunar. There is the Lunar battery and the inverter. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Lunar Bridge, we joke, this will make more sense in a bit. We joke that the Lunar Bridge, if a span panel and a Tesla gateway were to have offspring, it might be something like a Lunar Bridge, offering a load relocation panel and the ability to do some smart dynamic load management. We'll talk quickly about some Lunar Maximizer specs, but again, the Lunar Maximizer is our iteration of an optimizer, so similar value proposition there. And then if we have time, we'll get into the Lunar customer app and why we think that's also uniquely differentiated in the market. And we'll talk a little bit about system operating modes and just making this experience as seamless and easy as possible for the end user. So to begin, you may have seen it before, but you're really going to see it now. The Lunar System is a modular system that stacks up, not out. From a configuration perspective, we can offer your customers between 15 and 30 kilowatt hours of usable storage capacity, and that is done via an incremental 5 kilowatt hour battery block. At some point in the not too distant future, we'd love to walk you through the installation methodology and how this all comes together on site. But in short, as those blocks are stacking upward, each battery block has its own bracket that's installed on the wall. Really quick installation process, easy for the installers. Once they do one or two of these things, they go through them really quickly. The inverter itself, 9.6 kW continuous, surging up to 15 kW. And outside of that, I would say on this slide, some other things to call out. 12.5-year warranty, so we're kind of middle best from a warranty perspective. No extra fee or cost to go from 10 to 12.5 out of the box. The customer is going to get a 12.5-year warranty on the system. And I think that mostly covers it on this. I had mentioned before, we AC and we DC couple. Near term, during our time together today, I'll talk a lot about DC coupling, and then a little bit later, we'll talk about how we do AC coupling and how that too is a little bit different than maybe what you've seen in the market thus far.
Could I jump in here real quick, John? I think you touched already upon like stacking up, modular, etc. What are some of the things that installers should be aware of? Like, what are some of the pointers you would give them? What do they need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, well, all the usual things, and that's actually a really great question from the standpoint of matching the technology that you're deploying to site specifics. And what we found with many of our customers, Lunar becomes really a slam dunk if you're dealing with a confined space on the wall. Perhaps you have a gas meter or a window, and you're kind of threading the needle. With systems that expand outward, you may only be able to have a single battery. Maybe it's 10 kilowatt hours or it's 13 and a half. With Lunar, there's typically more available vertical space. So the question was timely in that on this image, you can see, you start to get a sense of how the Lunar System is installed with the inverter on top and then subsequently the battery blocks. But in that image, I believe that's 25 kilowatt hours of usable space going up, not out. So oftentimes you can deploy more capacity, especially on those tricky homes that have limited wall space. Or perhaps the customer just has a preference and says, I want it here, and I don't want to occupy my entire wall with a bunch of batteries and conduit and so forth. So that's really kind of articulating or highlighting the value proposition. One of the many where the site itself will call for a Lunar System versus perhaps an alternative.
That's amazing. So confined space or preference of the homeowner. Are there some other like use cases where Lunar Energy is really the slam dunk, to use your words?
Well, yeah, I often say that. And I would say one of the things that our partners are really gravitating towards right now is giving customers the option to expand quite easily over time. So imagine a situation where perhaps you're installing a 15 kilowatt hour lunar system. If there's any possibility for system expansion in the future, the idea would be just install that system a little bit higher than maybe you would otherwise, and then give yourself the available space underneath to come in and install an extra battery block or two. The process of that is quite easy. It's simply sliding in and mounting another bracket, dropping the battery in, and then you'd simply add that new battery block to the system. So it's not even a full recommissioning. It's just a service of the system and adding that new component.
That's a really good point, especially with the ever-growing energy demand, one EV, two EVs, maybe
That's right.
power outages and all that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you bring up a really good point. This future proofing. So installing a system at the customer home that can grow with them over time as they, in a way, continue their own electrification journey, whether it's an electric range or perhaps an EV at some point. And we'll talk a little bit more about, while adding more storage helps with that evolution and growth, we have a couple other things, a couple other aces up our sleeves that will help that system grow with the customer over time as well. Great questions. So for the first poll, question, Danielle, I think, do you cover the polls?
Yes, I am. So yeah, let's see what you guys think. First poll question: what is the capacity range for the Lunar System's modular architecture? Is it 5 kilowatt hours to 15 kilowatt hours, 10 to 20, 15 to 30, 20 to 40? Single choice. Let's see. I believe you said it.
I hope I did. If not, I'm in trouble.
I believe you did. So one person, give me a few more people. Just take a pick. It's anonymous. Okay, it looks, even though there's still room for you guys to participate, it does look like it's like a anonymous. Yeah, is that surprising? I mean, you said it, John. Do you want to comment the result, or maybe some considerations why you chose that category over others? Some more background, if you can elaborate.
Why we chose
Yeah, the 15 kilowatt hour to 30 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, we thought it was just kind of market fit. So there's this ongoing debate on how much gas the customer needs in their gas tank, and what does that prolonged outage perhaps look like. So all markets vary. I didn't mention before, up until now, Lunar has been exclusively focused on growing our footprint in California. So we really don't want to get over our skis and say, you know what, we're a national brand, we're going to go after every market. We want to get California right. Coincidentally, California is a complex market. So if you get it right here, there are certainly other markets that you can do quite well in as well. But what we thought market fit was looking at what was being installed, looking at kind of the competitive landscape, and then wanting to offer that optionality to installers without getting much more gas in the gas tank to account for those longer duration PSPS events or longer duration outages without a customer having to install an entirely new system. Cool. All righty, let's bump along. So we're going to go really quickly through a few of these things. I talked about the Lunar Maximizer before. We really believe in system maximization and optimization and getting the most value long-term out of these investments that customers are making. The concept of a maximizer and optimizer is probably familiar to everyone on the call. To give everyone a sense of where we land, so our maximizers can handle up to a 650 watt module. We can do up to 3 strings in one lunar system. Each string can have between 9 and 24 modules, 25-year warranty, which I think is pretty standard for module level power electronics. But we feel strongly, and again, if you're DC coupling, really maximizing the long-term benefit of that system, and you can do that in a number of different ways. These will accomplish all of the usual things. So module level performance will be improved, shade mitigation, but also better, faster, cleaner designs. So you're giving the customer access to the best possible roof planes, you're mitigating shade, so you're boosting production long term. And then there's value to the installer that's putting these things out in the world, which is problematic module diagnostics. So whether it's an unhappy module or an unhappy maximizer, being able to do those diagnostics remotely. And when you go out, roll a truck to figure out what's going on with that system, you know exactly where to go, what module to lift, and you can really shorten the amount of time on site and save some dollars that way. So yeah, we feel really strongly in, again, just maximizing the customer return, not only at the battery level, but also on the solar side of things as well. I think that will bring us to a new poll.
Yes, let's go for another poll. So poll 2, module level power electronics, MLPE, like the Lunar maximizers, offer customers all of the following benefits, except here is one choice, please: higher system production, better, more efficient designs, increase PV module rated wattage, troubleshooting and system diagnostic tools. These are the 4 options. Pick one. This is fun. Show me what you guys think. Which
The
one do you pick? Yes, John.
the accept always gets me because I just read the first sentence and yeah.
Right. Well, we give you a couple more seconds here. Just take a guess. And also let us know if you have any questions around this. That's a really good point. It's interesting. I'm really intrigued by your own optimizer. All right. I think that's it. Anything you would like to add here?
No, 100%. So maybe I have a next career journey as a teacher. If everyone's getting 100%, I'll
You're doing a great job. Explaining it really well.
Awesome. No, this is fantastic. Okay, cool. So let's bump along. We talked a little bit about Lunar Bridge. So this is a 200 amp rated panel. The internals are Eden. This in some markets can even serve as a main service panel. So we are certified for that. This is where if you're doing load relocation within the Lunar System product ecosystem, you'll migrate those loads over to Lunar Bridge. I have one of these at my home. They look great. They just look like they should be right next to that Lunar System. So they've got a really nice aesthetic to them. Really, the star of this show is becoming the integration with the Eden AbleEdge Smart Breaker that we'll talk about more in depth here in a moment, but you can kind of get a sneak peek of what those look like here within the photo. So you can see those little breakers with some lights on them. Outside of that, pretty straightforward. So if you are in the habit of relocating loads for your home to provide that kind of protected load experience, this is our way to do it. So it's not just kind of a bland sub panel on the wall, but this is a branded, great looking 200 amp load relocation panel that does the service disconnect in there and all those usual suspects. And beyond that, again, I think pretty straightforward. Essentially your 200 amp rated panel. We do support whole home backup. If you choose not to do whole home backup and you're relocating loads and only a portion of the loads, we capture whole home consumption with a Rogowski coil. It's a flexible CT. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback from our partners as it relates to the fitment of those. So you're running into fewer problems in that regard. And beyond that, so I've been talking a lot about load control. I do think that dynamic load management has to be an ingredient within this broader product ecosystem over time. So we chose to partner with Eaton. Coincidentally, many years ago, we had kind of built our own load management prototype. And then in conversations with Eaton, they were working on similar things. So what we've done is a full end-to-end integration with the Eaton AbleEdge Smart Breaker. If you haven't heard of these before, we can send over additional information about them. But when we talk about the Eaton AbleEdge Smart Breaker, I had made a joke about Lunar Bridge being kind of a hybrid between gateway and span. The Eden AbleEdge Smart Breaker in the Lunar product ecosystem will offer all of those features and functionality that you would expect from dynamic load management. And that would be state of charge-based load shedding, grid status load shedding, circuit level consumption monitoring. We're doing all of those things, but what's great is that we're doing it on a per circuit basis. So the customer doesn't have to have 20 or 30 smart loads in a kind of confusing app that's separate from their solar or storage app. They can pick and choose exactly which loads they want to manage. And then over time, if they add a new electric appliance or they add an EV, adding that into that ecosystem is as simple as adding a new Eaton smart breaker. There's two really important things to call out here as it relates to the Eaton Able Edge smart breaker. You can have these. You can go buy one. You can put it next to a different battery. The customer doesn't even need a battery. They can have an Eaton Able Edge smart breaker. We, as I had mentioned before, have done a full end-to-end integration. And what that means is that not only is the Eaton Able Edge smart breaker commissioned in the installer app, that also commissions the Lunar System, the Lunar Maximizers, the Lunar Battery, all of those things under one experience. I would say more importantly, it's all within one experience in the Lunar customer app. And that is an area that I would say we are uniquely differentiated in that they don't have to jump over to their smart load management app. And that's picking up quasi battery state of charge readings that are different than what their battery app is showing. This is all under one roof. So it's a great experience to the customer for the customer, but it also perhaps reduces phone calls, confused phone calls where the customer says, my XYZ smart panel is saying my battery is at 32% state of charge and my solar is doing this, but my battery app is saying something different and my solar app is saying something else. So all in one roof, all under one ecosystem. And really longer term, what that does, it just increases usability for the end user, and they're not worrying about forgetting passwords and all that fun stuff. So with that said, I think we've got a poll coming.
Let me jump in here just real quick and because I think you said it. I just want to make really sure I got that right. So there's no need to download the Eaton app. Is that correct?
That's
It's
correct.
everything in the Lunar app. And you mentioned the opportunity for homeowners to really manage their loads on a per circuit level. But there's also there's a lot of support for the homeowners that don't want to do that, right? So there's an automatic, depending on the setting, I guess, that you choose, whole home backup or whatever
Yeah.
that is, it
Yeah.
automatically all integrates and supports.
That's exactly right. And we've heard from some installers, like, for some of our customers, that's just a lot. That seems overwhelming. And to that, I would say have the conversation with the customer during the time of commissioning, walk them through the app. We're happy to do it as well on behalf of your teams with your customers. Set this stuff up right out of the gate. So if they've got an EV, have that EV automatically shed when the grid goes down. If they have perhaps a pool pump, maybe you shed that at 80%, and an electric range, maybe you shed that at 50% to extend that battery runway. But have the conversation with the customer, and then you can kind of set it and forget it. And if the customer wants to make any changes over time, certainly they can do that. But it's a good way to kind of handhold the customer through that process. And of course, once you get through commissioning, great time. I'm sure everyone is aware, ask for referrals because the customer is happy, the lights are on, and the system's working. But great question. Cool. All right, let's bump down. I think we've got a poll coming.
Yeah, let's jump to the next poll question. Including smart load management with solar plus storage projects helps accomplish which of the following? One choice. It prevents the home's energy demand from exceeding the battery inverter output capacity when off grid. It provides useful circuit level consumption details. It allows home loads to be managed remotely. And all of the above. That was a really quick response here from the people that have responded. Yeah, so we leave the question open. But John, if you want to comment on that or add anything to what you just elaborated on.
Yeah, what I would do, it's a good opportunity to get pricing from BayWa on Eaton Able Edge smart breakers. And when you look at the value that this solution brings to your customers, to your organization versus the cost of the component, by and large, we're seeing about 55 or 60% of new Lunar installs are having at least one of these smart breakers put in. I'm glad that you asked that question as well, Daniela, because I'm reminded I didn't mention how Lunar is AC coupling. As it currently stands, Eaton Able Edge smart breakers are available in 30, 40, 50, and 60 amp configurations. 15s and 20s are coming. The way that we're AC coupling is simply landing your AC PV in an Eaton AbleEdge smart breaker. When that is commissioned, the installer will notate that that's not a load breaker, but it's a PV breaker. And then we will bring all of those PV production readings into the customer app so that the customer can see what's going on. We can do AC and DC coupling on one site. So maybe you're retrofitting an old system that you installed a year or two or three or four ago, and you're adding new solar. You can AC and DC couple, and then we will aggregate and bring all that production data under one roof, but then also isolate out what that legacy system is doing, that AC coupled system.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. It's nice to see that feature adopted because again, I think it brings a tremendous amount of value to customers, especially when they want to look on the 362 days out of the year where the grid is up. If they want to assess, well, when am I using power on those larger loads? What is that costing? Should I rethink my behavior? Maybe we'll get there one day.
Yeah, and the flexibility piece as well, like changing consumer behavior, changing need of energy, not just seasonal,
Right.
but also like in general, bringing more and more of those smart applications to your home.
Absolutely. Cool. All right, let's bump along. So we've talked a lot about loads and Lunar Bridge, and I've mentioned load relocation. If we were to do another poll right now, and we were to say yes or no, I love relocating loads on every site. The yeses to that would probably be, from a percentage standpoint, fairly low. So I'm pleased to announce that we have done an integration with Connector's Islander meter socket adapter. And this has been something that the market has really demanded, especially here in California, where the vast majority of homes have meter main combos, and it's hard to kind of isolate out. So this is alive in California. I would encourage you connect with Connector to understand exactly what the status is within each utility company in California. But things are progressing very well. So based on that, you shouldn't hesitate offering this to your customers. We're seeing these deployed through all the major IOUs here in California and in other states as well. This is, of course, eliminating the need to install Lunar Bridge. So this is replacing Lunar Bridge, and it is allowing you to just make your disconnect at the meter, just like if you're using any other meter collar solution. And Lunar is communicating to the Connector Islander meter socket adapter via this little gray box, kind of benign gray box that you see called the Lunar Meter Socket Adapter Controller, MSAC. We've pictured some real world examples below just to give you the sense of something that's not rendered in Photoshop, but this is what these look like on a typical home, perhaps within the communities that you serve. And so far, really well received. I joke internally, long live Lunar Bridge, because we're seeing the adoption in California of Lunar Bridge drop as a result. I have one. I think they look great, but I do understand it is costly. It is almost mind-numbing, but it provides not a ton of extra value to relocate loads, and the cost that is incurred to relocate loads. All that goes away with the Islander from Connector. So we're really excited about that.
It sounds like that the integration went really well with Connector and the Islander. So can those two components be like used on the same site?
Yes, great question. I think from my perspective, meter collars or meter socket adapters historically have had a bit of an Achilles heel in that you're relying on one or two batteries to back up that entire main panel, which is probably okay. But if there's an outage, there is no real built-in control for the customer. So if they're not paying attention, all of a sudden they're depleting their batteries quicker than they thought they would, or even worse, they're overloading that inverter because perhaps there's a high coincidental simultaneous load that's happening. So the magic here is when these two integration partners come together and you do something like an Islander meter socket adapter in conjunction with the Eaton AbleEdge Smart Breaker. So in this scenario, what you can do, as long as that main panel is compatible to receive that Enable Edge smart breaker, you can have all of that same dynamic load shedding capability, and you haven't relocated a single load. If there are any questions about, well, what if it's not compatible? We've got a couple workarounds that we can kind of get folks up to speed on. But that has been a huge hit with our partners because once again, you can get all of that same smart load shedding functionality, but it just exists in the customer's main panel. All you've done is removed a standard breaker and replaced it with an Enable Edge smart breaker, and then you can commission it during that Lunar System commissioning process, and you are off to the races. Something that I'll also call out, even if there is a distant sub panel, maybe it's a pool house or a wood shop, and there's a load there that you want to participate in that dynamic load shedding, we can provide the specific distances, but open air, I think, is 75 feet or so that these will communicate with the lunar system, and you'll get all of that same functionality. And this goes back yet again to that phenomenon of really marrying site considerations and customer need to the technology versus force feeding a technology into site. And so one of those examples of where Lunar will really stand out as a good viable solution for the customer.
Yeah, and both of which you can, of course, your BayWa account manager can help you get your hands on Connector, the Islander, as well as Lunar.
Perfect. Awesome. We've got another poll.
Let's go. True or false? When installing the Islander MSA with Lunar, it's still required to relocate large loads to a non-backed up loads panel. Is that true or false? All right, let's see. Are there some more folks participating? I'm going to go out here on a limb. It's false.
Yes, and it's kind of a trick question. Historically, had there been some very large loads that could perhaps cause challenges from an output capacity or from a battery state of charge perspective, we can solve that problem now with that dynamic load management. So I do well, we've seen it in practice. It's a combination that our partners are really gravitating towards. Cool. So I think what that brings us to is a quick showroom demo. This will be pretty quick. We just want to give everyone kind of a sense of the look and feel of the Lunar System. So I'm going to go off camera for just a minute, so you don't get come in and do an in-person office tour. But I'll be right over into the demo room here in a second. Hang tight.
Just bear with us. This is going to be super exciting. You'll see a live demo. In the meantime, if you have any questions, keep posting those. Oh, here you are, John. Are we ready?
Are you hearing an echo? Okay. Sorry, we're getting set up here. So what I would ask everyone to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and it might make sense if you haven't already and can to pin my video on here. And I'll be shouting a little bit, but what I want to do is give everyone just an idea of how this whole thing comes together. Hope you can see I'm a little high. You can see our mock solar up there. So here is the Lunar System live and in person. Daniela, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay?
Can hear you great. See you
Okay.
great, hear you great.
Perfect. Okay. So you can see the Lunar System that's installed here at our facility is a 25 kilowatt hour Lunar System. So I'll do a quick example. I about 5'10" or so. I'm wearing my boots today, so I might be 5'11", but you can kind of get an idea of how compact these things are. A comparison on a Lunar 25 might be something like 2 power walls. And if you're expanding those horizontally, you're occupying a lot of horizontal wall space. Whereas with Lunar, once again, it just goes straight up. A 30 kilowatt hour would just be one more block up. So you'd be right about here. And again, these are each one of these 5 kilowatt hour usable blocks. Ben Chates is standing by the Lunar Bridge here, and you can see within our Lunar Bridge, we've got what is it? 5 controlled loads. We've got a dryer, an EV charger, all the usual suspects on there. If the customer wanted to go full bore, they can do up to 8 Eaton Able Edge smart breakers within Lunar Bridge. And then, of course, if they're putting those into their main service, whatever space permits. But pretty straightforward. What we can do, Ben, I'll grab the phone. So one of the things you won't be able to see it right now, and we can share access to a demo Lunar app environment if you're interested in seeing it. The things that we want to kind of cover today, we're going to show you what an off-grid experience looks like for a customer. So what happens at the home? We'll get some loads going so you can see what happens to the dryer, what happens to the clock. And then we'll demo the Eden Able Edge smart breakers and how the customer can use that functionality just from their mobile phone to perhaps shed loads to extend the duration of that battery. So why don't we do this? Just to give you an example, I'll show you the responsiveness of the Eden Able Edge smart breakers. I could be 10 feet from my system as I am right now, or I could be vacationing in a far off place. And if I wanted to, whether it's an on-grid or an off-grid event, or whether you're on-grid, you're able to just at a flick of a button, so you probably can't see it, but here's the app. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. It's going to say, hey, are you sure you really want to do this? And then if I click confirm, you can see, did I confirm it? Yes. So there you go. So a couple seconds, that light will shed. So cool, we did a light, not a lot of draw there. The reason we do that is so that you can see it from the screen, but more importantly, you can imagine a circumstance where perhaps the grid sheds, the customer gets a push notification from their Lunar app, and it's the middle of the day, and they're like, wow, my AC is on, my pool pump is running. I'd better shed those loads. If you haven't done an automatic state of charge base shedding, for example, they can drop those loads and from a click of a button, extend that battery runway. We'll go ahead and turn the lights back on. I'm going to get some other loads going here. So get the microwave going. So we're going to wait for that microwave to spin, or the laundry to spin up really quickly. So what we're going to do now, we're going to simulate an outage by just flipping the main breaker. So Ben, if you want to do that, what I would ask everyone to kind of pay attention to, you probably can't see super well if I'm standing in front of it, but like, what do the lights do? What does the laundry machine do? So we are officially operating off grid now. You may have heard Ben click that breaker. The laundry is still going. The microwave, the microwave is still on. The clock did not reset. And then you may have heard in the background a click. I can't zoom in, but the upper right breaker, that green light has turned off. That load has been automatically shed because the grid disappeared. And so the idea here, that particular one, we've got an EV charger that's connected to that. But the idea here is just really seamless, easy, super functional for the customer, and giving them, again, all of those benefits of dynamic load management without having to do the full panel, for example. I think from a showroom perspective, the only other thing to really show, I'll kind of slide this over a little bit, but you can see we've got the Islander, the connector Islander meter socket adapter on display, as well as our meter socket adapter controller. So what you're seeing really here is the full Lunar System ecosystem outside of the maximizers, which of course are on the modules up on the roof there. I had mentioned before, what we can do is we can provide demo credentials. So if you want to tinker around with the Lunar app and see how all this stuff works, we're happy to do that. And what we'll do now, I'm going to jump back over to the slides. Hopefully I can figure that out.
While you do that, what would be a good way to get like the demo credentials? Is there like
Yeah.
an email address, or you want us to reach out to BayWa folks and get you in touch, or what's
The best way to do it would be for us to, well, so when you download the Lunar app, that's the first step. On the bottom of the little login area, there's a button that says demo account. Daniela, what I can do is I'll send you the credentials, and then if you want to push
Mhm.
those out to the attendees, that would be a
That
good,
sounds good. Yeah, we can include it in the email.
perfect. All right, let's see. Okay, here we are. Okay, so we've done that. I had mentioned before, if anyone wants to swing by, visit us at the facility. You'll meet a lot of great people. We can run through the demo environment as well. And then the back half of our facility here, it's all of our accelerated life testing, whether it's temperature, cycles, humidity, soot, seismic, EMF. We do it all here, and so pretty cool experience to see. So open invite. Outside of that, I know perhaps now more than ever, financial products are a hot topic. And so what we wanted to give everyone is an idea of which AVLs we're on today. And then if there are some, perhaps you think to yourself, hey, I'm interested. I like what I've heard about Lunar, interested in learning more, but I'm working with these other financial products. Let us know. There's a lot in the hopper. There's a lot that we're working on as we speak. Two of the ones that we're seeing a lot of traction with right now are HDM and Participate Energy. And that's because, of course, they're offering prepaid leases and PPAs, which look and feel as close to kind of the former 25D cash customer from last year. And one thing that I wanted to call out is that within these financial products, Lunar qualifies for all the domestic content thresholds, not just for the battery, but also for solar. And so as you're going through those platforms and you're testing pricing and you're kind of figuring out what's pricing out best or what should be offered where, I would encourage you run some scenarios. Just make sure you're when you're quoting Lunar, you're clicking the domestic content toggle on, and you'll start to see kind of an enhanced discount to cash versus some of the other solutions that are out there. But within this list, a number of loan options, number of third-party owned options, and then, as I had mentioned before, more coming. So if there are some that folks would like to see, just let us know, and if we're not already working on it, we'll get to work on it. And I believe, just to give everyone an idea, we will drop, I think we're going to try to drop a link to the Lunar Energy Document Center into the chat. This is a great resource. It's just simply lunarenergy.com /document center or /documents. And there is a wealth of information here, everything from sales collateral, single line diagrams, installation manuals, pretty much everything you can think of as far as supporting some additional homework, so to speak, with Lunar. You can find it there. But we are also available. So the Lunar team, you met Ben, you met Jack. We've got a large and growing team focused on what we call channel partners, so the partners that are working with Lunar. But then behind the scenes on all of that, we have field service engineers, customer success managers. So we'll start to get you kind of connected with your team's counterparts here internally at Lunar to make sure that not only you, but your customers are supported. Referencing the document center is not passing you off, but it's great for some evening reading. And I encourage everyone to check it out. Outside of that, wanted to make sure everyone had contact information for our sales team. So Ben Chates, who's here today, covers Northern California and Fresno. Tommy Dormer down in Southern California, of course, covers Southern California up through Bakersfield. And then I myself am covering kind of the broader Sacramento Valley. But we all work as a team together, so we'll all support where we can. And with that said, I think that just about concludes everything. Once again, Daniela and to the BayWa team, I wanted to thank you. This has been great. Thanks for coordinating all of this. And just as important for everyone that attended, thank you so much for the time. And we look forward to connecting here in the near future. So that would bring us to Q&A, I suppose. But Daniela, do you want to kind of round us out?
Yeah, I wanted to also like thank you for taking the opportunity and to taking the time to walk us through the lunar system, right? Not just the battery. It was really, really exciting. And I want to also reiterate the availability of the Lunar team. And think of your BayWa account manager as an extended team. So the Lunar Energy team and we at BayWa, we are happy to support you, especially when it comes to the different paths of ownership. We work with most of those financial providers that you've seen on the slide as well. So please reach out if you need any support. We'll get you going and make sure your project is successful. Yeah, you'll be receiving an email with the recording links and some of the resources we talked about. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have. Thank you so much. This was amazing. We're excited about this partnership with you, John.
Thanks so much. Off we go.
Have a great rest of the day.
Were there, out of curiosity, any questions in the Q&A chat that we didn't get to, or were we able to get through everything?
Yep, we were able to get through everything. No more questions at this point. Let's keep in touch beyond the webinar. This is just the beginning. So excited to build this partnership and to build the projects with the Lunar Energy System.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye now.